Hey guys, Tom here, Off Leash Canine Training. If you're watching this video, that means you have picked up your dog from our famous 2-week board and train program. You've already got your debrief and your turnover from one of my trainers, and now you're back home and you're starting to get into the gist of things and starting to implement all the training that has been done with your pup for the last 14 days. So the reason I'm making this video is kind of like the same reason I made the Breakdown 101 e-collar video. I'm going to do a quick recap of everything that your trainer has gone over with you during that 1.5 to 2 hour turnover, so that if you ever need to refer back and if you ever have any questions, you can refer back to this video. So first thing we're going to go over is the unwanted behaviors, the off command that my trainer had gone over with you. So the off command is pretty much any unwanted behavior, anything you don't want your dog to do, you give him the command off in conjunction with the remote training collar. Now the big difference between off and all the obedience commands, I keep looking over because I got Rambo over there, I'm just making sure he stays put. Come here, buddy. This is Rambo. He's one of my board and trains from a long time ago. I hang out with him a lot. I do a lot of boarding with him, so me and him have a lot of quality time together. So I brought him today. Anyways, so the off command, any unwanted behavior, jumping, barking, counter surfing, begging for food, whatever it is, if you don't want him doing that behavior, you turn up the remote to a motivational correction level. What that means is a level at which motivates Rambo or motivates your dog to stop doing the behavior. So the off command is different from the obedience commands. With the obedience commands, we started at 0, slightly turn it up, press the button, say the command, start it, or turn it up, press the button, say the command, like you learned in the turnover and in my breakdown video. So with off, the unwanted behaviors, Rambo, come. With the unwanted behaviors, you already turn it up to a level that you know bothers your dog, and you say the word off and press the button. For example, I'm not gonna actually do it to him because he's not doing anything right now that I don't want him to do. But let's say he started digging into the ground and I didn't want him to do that. I'm gonna crank up the knob on the remote to maybe a 15, because I know a 15 probably bothers him. So I'm gonna turn it up to a 15 and say off. If that didn't do the trick, if that didn't get him to stop digging, I would turn it up higher. Off, turn it up higher, off, until he does it. And that's what you do for any unwanted behaviors, all right? Next is going to be the out command. Now, depending on your dog and their frequency of putting things in your mouth, your trainer may not have covered the out command. If we get dogs that don't really put things in their mouth, we don't really cover the out command. We just utilize off for it. But if you have a dog like Rambo, who loves to play fetch and loves to play tug, sometimes he gets come. Sometimes he gets a little stubborn and won't release it from the mouth. Come, heel, sit, down. Sometimes he won't release it from the mouth, so that's when I crank it up, out, until he releases it. So it's the same concept of off, you're just saying the word out. All right, so now we're gonna move on to recall. Come and sit. Break. Good boy. So with come and sit, it's pretty self-explanatory. The thing you wanna remember is that with all the training commands, we're utilizing 3 methods of communication. Visual cues, which is come, or sit, or place. We're using a visual cue. We're also using a verbal cue, which is verbally saying the command. And we're also using a way to touch him, reach out and touch him, and that's with this. All right, so with come, just the same as the methodologies that you were taught in the breakdown video you saw me in, or one of my trainers in, and that you also were taught during the turnover. It's come, turn it up. Come, turn it up. Come, turn it up. He's coming to me. Good boy, buddy. So we're using come, some type of visual cue, touch with the remote, and our verbal cue is come, right? So once he comes to me, Rambo, come, turn it up. I drop it to 0, ask him to sit, turn it up. Now if he didn't sit there, I'd press the button at the same time as the command, and I would turn it up, come, turn it up, come. Drop it to 0, sit, turn it up, sit, good. Drop it to 0, break. Good boy, buddy. So with recall, come and sit, you're starting in at 0, just like you do all the other commands. You give them one chance. The first chance is a freebie. Come, turn it up, come, turn it up, come, turn it up, till they come to you. Once they come to you and you're satisfied with the recall, now rule of thumb is our satisfaction with the recall is that we can bend over and touch them. right? If I say come and he comes halfway and doesn't come to the point where I can touch him, I'm gonna carry on with the methods until he comes to me. Once he comes to me, I'm gonna drop it back down to 0, off, break. Once he comes to me, I'm gonna drop it back down to 0, and then I'm gonna ask him to sit. Sit, turn it up, sit, turn it up, until he sits. Then I'm gonna reset it back down to 0. All right, so far we've gone over out, off, come, and sit. Next is gonna be the place command. So with the place command, the visual cue is you walking over to the cot, standing right next to it, placing your hand right over it so it's very clear to the dog that this is what I want you to get on, and this is what I want you to get on and sit. Place, Rambo, place. Good boy, place, good boy, place, good boy, place, good boy, place, good boy. Break. So notice how I hold my visual cue, place, until he gets on it. Good boy. Once he gets on it, I can stop with the visual cue and I can praise him. And the way that we praise is place, good boy. We say the command and then we praise it. Place, good boy, place, good boy, break. So the release command is break. When they hear me say break, and it's always in a high-pitched, exciting tone, they know, oh, okay, I can get up, I'm free now. You're never gonna hear us say stay, wait, anything like that. We wanna teach the dogs, hey, when I ask you to place, you get on it, you sit and you stay there until I release you. So that's with any commands, right? So the ways that they can mess up the place command, keep this in mind. If I ask him to place and he doesn't come over and get on it, that's where the methods come into play. Place, turn it up, place, turn it up. Sorry, I'm confusing you, Rambo. And I'm gonna continue with the methods until he gets on it. What that's teaching him is, you know, it's kind of like the whole hot lava game with kids. The longer it takes for you to get on here, buddy, the more lava there is on the ground, the hotter it gets. So he's learning, blue, 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 blue. Oh, I should go there and get on it. The second way they can mess it up is you ask them to get on it, they get comfortable, sit down, and lay down. The command isn't to get on it and lay down, it's to get on it and sit. So if they lay down, I would correct them and put them into a sit utilizing the methods. Sit, turn it up, sit, turn it up, sit, turn it up, sit, turn it up until they sat. Third way they can mess it up, and the most important way they can mess it up, is if I walk away, or we or you walk away from them, and they get up. Now the place command, when you go home from your 2-week board and train turnover, you want to utilize the place command as much as possible. So let's say you have this dog bed in the kitchen, in the living room, and you want to go into the kitchen and cook, because that's a big complaint, is dogs come into the kitchen. Rambo, come. You're gonna place the dog on the place cot and walk away. I hope Rams messes it up so that I can show you how to correct it. Place. Good boy. Now I'm gonna walk away and I'm gonna keep an eye on Rambo and I'm gonna be ready to correct him. That's important. So when you go home, you do the exact same thing with your dog. Place, 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 place. Sit. So you can correct them and teach them, no, you gotta stay there. Place, good boy. Place, place, place. Sit. Now you never want to correct, you never want to praise an unwanted behavior. So he messed it up, I put him right back in the position and I didn't praise him. I'm keeping an eye on him because if he messes it up, I want to be quick to correct him. And that's exactly what you want to do when you're at home. Cooking, have guests over or whatever, and you place him like this and you're talking to your friends or whatever. If he gets up, you just put him right back on. But when you're ready to release him, break. Good boy, buddy. Come. All right, so that's the place command. Then you can also down your dog while on place. That's pretty self-explanatory. I'll roll into the down command and we'll go from there. Come. Rambo, come. So when you ask your dog to down, it's always going to be from a sit position. You're going to ask them to sit first, utilizing the methods. Rambo, sit. Turn it up. Good. Now I'm going to ask him to down. When I bend over and point to the ground, that's my visual cue for him. I'm going to say the word down. That's my verbal cue. And this is going to be my touch if I need to touch him. Down. Good boy. I didn't need to do anything except bend over, use the visual cue and the verbal cue. Now, if he didn't listen to me, I would have turned it up and pressed down and he would have felt the tickle, reinforcing the command, making him realize, oh darn, I have to sit, I have to lay down no matter what, even if he was distracted. Down. Down. There, so I was on a 10. Down. Down, good boy. Down, good boy. Break. Rambo has a huge ball drive, and his ball's over there. That's why he keeps going over there. So the down is pretty self-explanatory. A couple things I'll point out is, you know, there's 3 types of downs. There's down where Rambo or your dog is right next to you, which is what I just did. It's bending over, pointing to the ground, utilizing the methods. Down, turn it up, down, turn it up. Notice I'm not doing this. Down, 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 or I'm not doing this. Down, down, down. I make it as clear to the dog as possible. I point to the ground and I hold that and I just keep downing him until he downs. Down, turn it up, down, turn it up, down, turn it up, until he lays down. And then once he does it, you can praise by saying the command and then praising him. Down, good boy. Down, good boy. I'm getting tired. So we've gone over off, out, come, sit, place, down. There's down on place, which is the exact same thing. It's placing your dog and then asking him to down. You're gonna do that a lot when you're at home, when you're placing him on his dog bed or whatever, or if you're going to the park and placing him on a picnic table. I will usually down a dog on place if they're there for more than a minute, you know, just so they can get comfortable and relax and stay there. And then there's down from a distance. It's the exact same concept. You're just putting him in a sit from afar and then asking him to down. I'll give you an example of that. Break. Rambo, come. Sit. Sit, good boy. Sit, good boy. I say the sit and I praise it. Sit, good boy. Sit. Down. Break. Good boy. Good boy. So that was an example of down from a distance. I put him in a sit. I walked away from him. I slowly bent over, I pointed to the ground, I made it very clear to him that that's what I wanted him to do, and I asked him to down, and he did it. Next is going to be the heeling. We'll talk about walking a dog on the left-hand side, whether it be on a very loose leash or completely off leash. I'm gonna give Rambo a break real quick, and then I'm gonna come back and we'll talk about that. All right, guys, we're back. Now we're gonna go over heeling. Whether it be loose leash heeling with a leash attached to your dog or complete off leash heeling. It's both the same exact concept, except with one you have a leash attached, with the other you don't. So the whole concept in this, and I won't get too much into it, I'm just gonna do a recap on this because your trainer should have gotten really into the nitty gritty with this during the turnover. But the whole concept is for your dog and to you to understand that when you are heeling your dog, if your feet are moving, that there is a 180-degree bubble on your left-hand side. Now, I'm weird, and I literally look down and envision like a little green force field, like a little alien force field or something. Rambo, come. Good boy. So, when you're walking, there is a bubble here on the left-hand side. And what we do is we teach and condition your dog that if you walk too far forward, too far back, too far left, too far right, and your nose or your body, pretty much your head, bumps into that bubble, you're gonna feel a correction with the remote collar. And that correction goes back to that whole motivational correction. It's really important that you understand that while you're walking your dog and he's walking too far in front of you and you say the word heel to correct him and you have it on, let's say, a 10 and he's not fazed by it whatsoever, you're gonna notice that the dog is gonna completely ignore you and keep walking forward. The whole goal is to create a motivational correction so that when you say heel, he goes, oh darn, okay. And he feels the sensation of the collar and knows he has to back up in order to shut it off. One of the biggest mistakes that happen later on, you know, months and months after a turnover, is customers will say, oh, well, my dog's kind of pulling on when we walk him again. Can I do we offer free training refreshers for the 2-week board and train program, and they'll get with us, and we notice that the reason why that's happening is because they're not turning it up to a motivational correction level. The dog's feeling the collar, but it's at low levels, and he's like, whatever, I can put up with that. I'd rather pull you around the neighborhood and feel a little buzz or a little tickle, that's fine. So what happens is the owner wasn't turning it up enough to the point where it's an uncomfortable sensation for the dog, to the point where your dog consciously makes a decision, okay, if I walk in front of mom's foot, I'm gonna feel that and I don't wanna feel that. So I'm not gonna walk in front of mom's foot anymore. That's the goal. And we do that by creating that invisible bubble on our left-hand side. So the way that it works is you're gonna have your dog on the left, and I'll demonstrate this in a second. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. He's on my right, but he's just chilling right here. So I'm gonna have the dog on the left-hand side. And when I first say the word heel and start walking, that's simply a heads up for Rambo. It's just letting him know, hey buddy, pay attention, we're gonna start walking right now. Once we start walking and my feet are moving, that's when that little green force field is on. That's when I turn up the knob and I turn it to an unwanted sensation. Then from that point, I'm holding Rambo very accountable, and if he walks in front of my foot, behind my foot on the backstride, to the left and to the right, he's gonna feel the unwanted sensation of the collar. So with that being said, a good rule of thumb to go off of, Rambo, break, I gotta show them something, is when you're walking, my bubble is at the front of the tip of my toe. So I don't want Ram's nose to go in front of the tip of my toe when I'm walking. If that happens, he's too far in front of me, heel, I'm gonna correct him so that he feels the bloop and backs up into my bubble. Same concept with the backstride. If his nose is behind my foot, he needs a correction and he needs to speed up to me. When you're walking to the left or walking to the right, my rule of thumb is if he gets to the point where he's walking and I can't reach over and touch his body, that's too far, and I correct him. Same thing with walking this way or this way. Remember, that barrier that I talked about is 180 degrees, not 360. So there's a line right here and here. So if I get a dog, usually it's larger breeds, Great Danes and stuff like that, that learn, oh, if I walk to the right, I can control mom, or I can control dad because I'm so big. Then you get dogs that walk to the right, and next thing you know, the dog's walking you. Nope, we don't want that. So if Rambo were to decide, oh, there's a duck over there and I want to go say hi, and his head just dips into my area, that means that his head has touched the bubble, the barrier. Correction. Heel, 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 heel. So you're gonna say the word heel for the correction and pair it with pressing the button. All right? Couple things to keep in mind. If your dog starts to speed up, you do the exact opposite and you slow down and correct them. If your dog starts to slow down, you do the exact opposite, you speed up and correct them. If you notice the dog wants to go into the grass, to go to the bathroom or whatnot, you don't just let them do it. You hold them accountable, you put them in the sit, which I'll talk about in a second, and then you release them. All right? So when you want to bring your dog to a stopping point, what you're going to do is you're going to say his name, Rambo, slowly come to a stop, and then sit. Now I'm going to demo all this here in a second so you can see it in action. All right, buddy, you ready? Ready to show off? Now Rambo is a board and train for me a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. I board him quite often, but recently they asked me to do some refreshing while I'm boarding, and one of them was for healing because he's a freaking maniac and would start pulling. We fixed that while he's been with me for the past couple days, and yeah, let's roll, buddy. Come on. All right, so we'll start over here. Rambo knows some advanced commands. Come, sit. So I'm going to put him in the heel command. Heel, heel, sit. All right, so he's on my left. As soon as I say heel, the first heel is just a heads up. I'm not going to press the button. He's not going to feel any type of sensation. But from that point on, if he walks in front of my bubble, behind my bubble, to the left of my bubble, or to the right of my bubble, I'm going to say the word heel and press the button like this. Heel. Heel. Good boy. Rambo. Good boy. Sit, good boy. Sit, good boy. Heel. He's a little bit too far forward. Heel. Heel. Good boy. Good boy. Heel. Rambo. Good boy. Break. All right, so a couple of things you saw me do there that I didn't explain was before I turned, I said the word heel. It's simply a heads up for Rambo. It's letting him know, hey buddy, pay attention. I'm about to do something. So the only two times that you say the word heel without pairing it with a correction is when you're about to give him a heads up. When you're about to start walking and when you're about to turn right or about to turn left. Now when you turn right, you're gonna say heel and turn. And he's gonna pay attention out of his peripheral vision, pay attention to where you go. Now with turning left, you're gonna bump into him. It's just the way it is. He's gonna feel your leg and he's gonna know, okay, it's a left-hand turn. All right? And then what I did when I came to a stop was I said, Rambo, I slowly came to a stop and my leg stopped moving. So I shut my barrier off, I turned it back down to a 0, and I gave him a couple seconds to sit automatically. If he was distracted and didn't sit automatically, I would have reinforced it with a sit. All right, so I hope all that makes sense. Healing The walking the dog is probably one of the main reasons most clients bring their dog to us, and it is a lot. But by reinforcing this, not utilizing the leash for corrections, utilizing the remote collar for corrections, you are going to continue to have a dog who walks flawlessly on leash and walks amazing off leash when the time comes when you like to walk them off leash. I hope that helped you guys out. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and contact your trainer. This 2-week board and train program does come with a lifetime of free unlimited training refreshers for your dog. So if you ever have any problems reinforcing commands, your dog's just, maybe you gave him an inch and he just straight took 10 miles, give us a call. We'll fix it free of charge. No questions asked. Thank you very much for your business, and hope you guys have a wonderful day.